Morning everybody, and welcome to today's Q&A. Kind of back to normal a bit, I think. I hope anyway, after the sort of the storm on the channel. I would like to say thanks very much for everybody's support, and everybody turned around and said, you know, kind of still like the channel, kind of like what you're doing. I ain't going to dwell on it. I said I wasn't going to dwell on it. We're going to move over. Just a couple of things as an update. As a result of the video, I think I got an email back saying, as a result of the advert, we sold one. So I kind of think, well, if that's it, I won't bother doing it again. It's just not worth the grief. For one commission, it's just not worth the headache. So I'm just going to go back to doing what I do best, which is just talking absolute nonsense. And the other thing I will say, everybody, I've got to say from a shipper's point of view, and I've said this before, if the CX is as overloaded as it is, where are all the vans? Because I keep placing bids. One of my customers this week needed something moving from Leicester to St Neots. No, tell a lie, the other way around. St Neots to Leicester. At 1 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon. I gave him, and I've sussed that thing out, you know, the thing that I always used to hate, where they go, I've just called a customer. Now I end up doing it. I go, give me 2 minutes, I'm just going to call the customer. And I think, the guy doesn't have to wait, that's not right. But I do it. And I understand why, and there'll be a video about it, of course it will. And I rang the guy, and he went, that's a bit dear, isn't it? You know, a small van going from here to Leicester. And I went, I can't get you a small van. All I can get you is a Luton. There's one bid. On the whole thing, there's one bid. I'm just saying. And we'll do a video on this one as well, which is, see for yourself. Don't take my word for it. I could just be saying that, despite the fact I'm getting 200 bids, all of which for £1. But I would do a video so you can see for yourself how many vans are out there and what kind of money they're doing. But we'll come to that another day. In the meantime, this week's video was nicknames on the CX. Another thing about sitting in the office now is I noticed that bids come in, and sometimes they come in and I think, have I used them before? Haven't I used them before? That name's kind of familiar. And then this guy came in and he was like Dr. Watson or Dr. Pop or something like that. And I thought, and that name stands out. And I think, from a shipper's point of view, I would recommend, as a van driver, you want a name that stands out. Because you might go, I've known people give me the bid just because I was polite on the phone. They might give me the bid because they just go, well, I've got 4 bids for £85. But that one there is called Shazam. We'll give it to them just because I like the name. Stranger things have happened. But you guys have said, I mean, Shane Hardy says, so how many people are going to be changing their names on the CX to now he's got a big one and the likes? Don't know. They might do. The thing is, if you've got your name on the CX, it's kind of there already. I don't even know if you can change it. Can you change it? I don't know. Lucan says, the White Line Beaver works very well, best for me. I'm not sure if that's a drug reference or a sex reference. Really not sure, but would stand out. Again, you don't want to offend anybody. You kind of want to make it comical, but at the same time, you kind of want to be you don't want to be un-PC about it, do you? You know, because that could lose your jobs. Godzilla's take on this is quite a long one. He says, not sure if comedy works in a serious business. Splash and dash couriers could exist, as could, and I seriously considered this for a long time, Lord Flashheart deliveries. Woof. Flashheart, I believe, he's the character in the Blackadder series, wasn't he? And it was based on a books called the Flashman books, which are about this guy who's an absolute git, but always ends up saving the day to the stage that, you know, like there's a big battle going on and he'll kind of hide underneath a dead body and then with the flag, and then they'll find him at the end and think because he's holding the flag he's the last man standing and won the battle, and he's not. He's horrible git. But the books are historically accurate. They're really, so if you want to learn a bit of history and at the same time getting entertained, Flashman books, recommend them. He said there was a good reason. Everybody knows he's the hero. He shoots up the last minute and saves the day. See you through. But it means growing facial fluff and wearing a light brown flying jacket and rotund, stocky skinhead with broken nose, which he said, which with a rotund skinhead with a broken nose and teeth from Birmingham. Maybe not the look. You kind of, Rick Mail, God rest his soul. He carried it off with aplomb, didn't he? Trotters Independent Traders, of course, could be one out there. Although obviously that's been nicked, I imagine. Delivering a yellow Reliant Robin. It's not Reliant Robin, is it? It's a Recon or something like that. No one's going to forget the name, but then Out of Time Couriers. Yeah, plenty to be going on with there. You know, the Pony Express was another was clever, but I think that's already been done. Yeah, so just what I'm saying, a name that stands out could be in the train. And Gareth Rides Bikes, which is Van on the Run's other YouTube channel, mate. We'll do your link. Oh yeah, 5:30. He said there's a glazing company in a town called Wide Open, which is just north of Newcastle upon Tyne. Can you guess what they called the company? Wide Open Window springs to mind, like, you know. If you were starting again, you could call. What would you call your company? Given that you moved from vans, a bit like the car phone warehouse doesn't sell car phones anymore. P.S. It's Van on the Run here. I have another name, but I'm not saying it because I think it's really good, and one day I might use it, so I'm going to keep my powder dry on that one. As for like changing your names, it's kind of, you know, Wide Open Windows. Fountains of Wayne was a favourite of mine, a great band named after a shop which they saw called Fountains of Wayne. And of course there is the fact that Chris Rea and Dire Straits are forming a band together, and they're going to call it Chris Straits. Right, Wise Guys. So this week, just one on the Wise Guys. Steve Lewis. He says, hi, you said you can drive for 9 hours and do 2 10 hours. He said, that's wrong. You can now drive 12 hours every 2 weeks, but you must have 45 hours rest. Thank you. Steve, I have no idea what you're talking about. So I'm of the belief, and I'm pretty sure I'm right on this one, it's not, it's slightly more involved. It's kind of, but the Janet and John version is on a week's driving, you can drive for a 9-hour stint. You have to have 45 minutes off in between. So 4.5 hours, 45 minutes off, 4.5 hours. But twice a week, you can drive for 10 hours. But to get your 10th hour, you've got to have another 45-minute break. That's kind of the Janet and John version. If anyone knows anything about this 12 hours, I mean, I know that when the COVID came in for a while, they said you could actually, they tried to stick it up for 11 hours. But I think that was only for certain drivers, and like food deliveries or medical supplies and stuff like that, and that was an incredibly grey area. We never went into it, we never used it. We decided not to. So we're still going. Yes, very nice. That's cool. Right. So anyone knows what Steve Lewis is talking about, please inform me. In the meantime, miscellaneous. This week's miscellaneous. Fussy says, so what about a 5-ton van? Like the Ivecos, the old post office vans were told if they used to have 5.5-ton vans. Do I need an O licence for a lightweight goods vehicle or a heavy goods vehicle? Regards, Marek. Marek, for any vehicle over 3.5 tonnes, you need an O licence. The only way round it, and it's happened to a friend of mine on the market back in the day, he bought an LT45, which was a 4.5-ton van, went to the ministry, went through all the necessary paperwork and had it downgraded to a 3.5-ton. So what he said is, I've got a 4.5-ton van, but I will not be loading it, the laden weight will never be more than 3.5 tons, and they downgraded it and they let him drive it without an O licence. But you've got to go through hoops and all that kind of stuff. The long and the short of it is, anything up to 3.5 tons, no problem at all. Anything over 3.5 tons, operator's licence. Scott Head says, how come you don't drive anymore, Pete? I think the business is kind of moving on. I think Jem's kind of had enough of it. And Al's kind of worked out that he can make more money doing what he did before for a lot less stress. And it kind of, even with 4 lorries running, it only really supports one person in the office. So what's happening at the moment is I'm learning how to do the office. The other 2 are taking a back seat. I'm going to probably do the admin. I'm doing the admin and the planning and the invoicing and the chasing of the invoicing and the mechanics. I'm doing everything. They're sort of tidying out things from what was before, like. And then I don't know how we're going to work moving forward. I'll be honest with you, it might just be me. me and the drivers, in which case I'll try and grow the business organically, and if it does get to a bigger stage further on down the line, then maybe they'll come in and take a more senior role again. Don't know, but at the moment, yeah, I'm in the office all the time, which means I'm learning all the office things. I keep meaning I'm going to do some videos on the office. The thing about the office is it's a lot busier than you think it would be. I start about 7, 8 in the morning. Yesterday I said I've got an easy day. I've only got 3 lorries running. Someone asked me for paper copies of PODs, one of which was 3 months old. I had to go back through 20. We don't post our PODs all the time anymore, by the way. That's another video coming out. What to do with your PODs now. You don't need to post them. It's a lot of unnecessary stress. But because I haven't got a system, I've got a system moving forward of how I'm doing the POD, so I'll keep it in order. But the ones in back, they was in bags, and I had to find them. That took like an hour and a half. I thought, this is tedious. But I had to do it anyway, so that was done. But yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. The business is evolving. It always has. Like the channel. When it started, I was a market trader. Then I was a van driver. Then I was a 7.5 ton driver. Then I'm a lorry driver. Now I'm in the office. The business is evolving. I'll keep you abreast of the situation. So there you go. Lulu says, can anybody tell me, is this worth doing 2 days a week in a van, or is the app, the insurance and the fuel too expensive? Lulu, I would say it's too expensive. The CX is to make money on it. You know, the first 2 days will cover your costs. They'll cover your diesel, your van insurance, your rent, your goods in transit insurance, to cover the CX, all that kind of stuff. And then the final 3 days, that's your profit. So if you only work 2 days a week, all you're doing is treading water. As I think Ian at C11 Yan says, he says, you're far better off speaking to a local courier company and becoming an owner driver. CX is a solution which is effectively a closed courier business, forwarders with no vans, but it's kind of going full circle now. So, but no, I think no, I wouldn't advise you to do it, to be honest with you. I think if you're not going to go full time, like people said, can I run at nights, can I run at weekends? There's not many jobs at nights, there's not many jobs at weekends, and if you do, you'll find yourself picking it up, driving there and driving back empty because there was no return load on it, on dead miles. It really is a kind of Monday to Friday thing, and it kind of is a full-time thing, I think. Let me know if you think you're wrong. We'll pass it on next Sunday. Hong Kong Fooey says, if a shipper sees 2 bids, one is 100 and the other is 200, the latter has 100% positive feedback, the former has a few negative, who gets the job? The former. It's £100 difference. If it was £10 difference or £20 difference, then you're more likely to go with the one who's got, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, if the former was £100, had done 50 jobs and had 47 negative feedbacks, he wouldn't get a job full stop. But on the whole, £100 difference is, I would certainly be booking the £100 van, not the £200 van. Unless, of course, if it was going, I don't know, 300 miles, then you'd ring him up and you go, why have you been £100 on a £300 mile job? Because something's not right there, is it? And what you're hoping to say is, I'm picking up from across the road and I'm delivering to a place around the corner from my house. And you go, okay, fair enough. And finally, on the miscellaneous this week, Jeremy Hawk Courier says, Pete, this channel has got quite big, but it still focuses on a very small CX bubble. The industry is far, far bigger than the tech company in London. I think they're based in Watford. There is so much more to it. Most of us are not even on the exchange sites. Jeremy, I'm sure you're right. It's a bit like writing a book, which I have done. Please feel free to go to the website and read it. It's called Shall I Go On, Mum? It's very, very good. I've written 2 actually, but the second one I still can't get my head around. Actually, I've written 3. Never published the 3rd one. I'm halfway through the 4th, but I've stopped writing that. You don't care. Like the book, you write about what you know. I talk about what I know. That's all I've ever done, doing the markets, spoke about what I know. Then I'm driving a van, speaking about what I know. Now I'm in the office, and as I get to understand it more, I will continue to speak about what I know and show you what I'm doing, so you guys don't have to make the same mistakes that I have made. And that's always the plan. And in conclusion this week, 1401 for Nick, Suddock Wales says, great glasses, Pete. Got a link for them bad boys. I wish I had. They're just Amazon. They were like 10 quid. But they're really good and they work really well. But I can't remember where I bought them. It was just literally, I don't even know what you Google. Kind of 0.1 glasses on Amazon. The wife got them for me because she's been wearing glasses all her life and I've only just needed them. So, but yeah, sorry my friend. Got me good night from me and it's good night from him. Contemporary reference for the 18 to 25-year-olds there. So that's it. That's it for another week. Like I say, I'm going to try and get the cameras set up upstairs. Try to work out how to do screen record on the computer, and once I do that, I'm going to start banging some videos together, like how to post a load on the CX, how to find a member on the CX. Finance manager. Jem said, go into finance manager. I went, what's that? She went, you've never been in finance manager? I went, no. She said, I can't believe that. So, finance manager, apparently it's the click beneath the HX. Who knew? So yeah, that's me blundering on in my usual hapless fashion in the courier driving world, hoping to take care and take money.